Hey, Battle Bill, here with another video, and here in today's video, I'm going to show you why Wooper, the water ground type, is the best MUDBOI to be running in the Little Jungle Cup meta. We have a submission from a fellow PvPer of the community by the name of Chris from Kentucky. We have a collection of his battles that I will be shoutcasting with this team comp here, and we're going to go over all the strengths of why you should be running Wooper in some Little Jungle Cup battles while it lasts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into these battles. So right now, we currently have the matchup of Ducklet on Galarian Sunfisk, and it just got muddied watered, and the Wooper's coming in to spam against the Cottony. Typically, this would not be a good matchup for a MUDBOI, but Cottony has a fast move of Charm, and Wooper has the ability to throw some body slams at it. But Chris is recognizing the typing disadvantage and is still going to pivot to his Mirror and Charm alongside the opposing Cottony. Is he going to be able to charm all the way down? He's loaded up on energy. The opposing Galarian Sunfisk is coming in, and he's going to let this charge move come through. It ends up being a Muddy Water, which Cottony tanks quite well. He's going for his first Seed Bomb here, which gets the opponent's last shield, and I might have missed, but he might already be debuffed, but that doesn't matter. If the Cottony can get to another charge move, which it could have, but he decided not to throw, he would have been able to take out the Galarian Sunfisk with another Seed Bomb, and still should be able to, and decides to just charm down and said, screw my charge moves. Your Muddy Water's not taking me out. And there we have a win for the first match. Getting to the next one, we've got a Wooper lead against another Cottony. And like I was saying before, Wooper is able to spam these body slams for some solid neutral damage. Does not have to worry about the double super effective grass moves coming at it until the Cottony gets to a charge move. Was already able to get off 2 body slams, throwing a third one before the opposing Cottony even gets off a charge move. This gets the shield, he pivots, and the opponent also pivots into their bite Carvanha. What a mon to see in this meta, and the friggin' Ducklet is able to come in and wing attack the Carvanha all the way down because it's just as glassy as its Great League version and evolution Sharpedo, and you saw that by how the fast moves were essentially doing the same amount of damage to each other. He's able to take out the opponent's Cottony, throws a Berry Bird, gets the opponent's last shield, and is sitting in a pretty good spot. This is essentially GG's because the opposing team's last mon is a Shadow Stunky with a Bite, which is dark and resisted by the Cottony's Fairy typing. Getting to the next match, we've got the Wooper going up against a Shadow Gligar, and same thing. Just like in all of the previous matches so far, we're going to be spamming as many body slams as possible, and body slam is such a great move just for some solid coverage, considering Wooper typically is throwing ground moves outside of throwing this move. Gets both of the opponent's shields because they boosted on a Night Slash, and is going to come in with the Ducklet before getting farmed down. Ends up shielding the next Night Slash that comes through, and is most likely going to want to build up to that Bubble Beam. Eats the next Night Slash, does a huge chunk, builds all the way up to the Brave Bird, but is going to throw the Bubble Beam here. Will it do enough damage to the Gligar? It unfortunately does not. It gets a debuff. The opponent then pivots into the Dino to try and Dragon Breath them down, and then Chris matches them with his Charm Cottony and essentially deletes the entirety of that Dark Dragon type Dino. The opponent then comes in with an Oddish, and Chris is committing to a Charm down of the Poison type, which is huge. Hopefully we'll be able to farm down before they get off another move. Has a charge move of Seed Bomb loaded, gonna throw it at the Gligar with no energy, and this will bang win the match. Cottony coming in clutch there in that endgame scenario. Getting to the next match, and again, this is another good thing about Wooper, is that even in matchups where it appears that it would struggle because of its ground typing, having the access to body slam, being able to spam it over and over and over again, hopefully we run into a goddamn situation where he's able to take advantage of his ground typing and throw some of those stab mud bombs. But right now we're spamming body slams from Wooper. Got the opponent's first shield. I'm pretty sure they threw a Bubble Beam because they let the second one go through and it did not do a huge amount of damage. Another body slam lands. The opponent is over farming like crazy. Will Chris use a shield here to get off another body slam? He will not. It ends up being another Bubble Beam, and the opponent safe swaps into their own Wooper. So now we have the Wooper Mirror, but he's most likely going to go into his Cottony and try to charm this all the way down. Does have to watch out for the opposing Wooper's body slam spam, which is about to happen here. How many body slams will the Wooper be able to get off before the Cottony is able to charm it the entire way down? Gonna let the second charge move come through, going for the full charm down, and the Wooper just barely gets to the third charge move, forced to shield, but was still able to successfully charm all the way down. The opponent comes in with the ice ground type of Swinub and is going to throw some super effective grass damage to get the opponent's last shield. Is Chris in a good spot? The charms added up. Ducklet has the opportunity to throw some super effective water damage at this windup, but is also going to spam its own body slams. Most likely going to get to another charge move here on the CMP tie that Ducklet unfortunately loses. Chris decides to use his last shield here, throws the bubble beam. This should hopefully take out, but he's undercharging it completely because he wants some farm. The opponent then pivots into their own Ducklet, going to throw most likely a Brave Bird here that will take out Chris's Ducklet's remaining health, and unfortunately does lose this match. Hey, a matchup where Wooper's finally able to showcase why it's such a great MUDBOI and throw some solid ground damage, and then the opponent pivots and the Wooper's throwing a body slam again. What else is new here? Either way, they save swapped into their own Ducklet. Chris is going to throw back-to-back body slams. Now the question is, do you go into your Cottony? Do you go into your own Ducklet? They go into their Cottony, has to watch out for the super effective flying damage that's going to come through. Ends up being the Brave Bird, is able to charm down, and then the opponent comes in with their Onyx again, which is really still not a great matchup for the opponent's current Mon, because Cottony is going to resist any ground damage and is only taking neutral from the rock throws that are coming through. And Cottony is going to be able to deal some super effective grass damage to get the opponent's first shield. Is the Cottony going to be able to charm all the way down? It is. The opponent did not get off another Sand Tomb there, which is pretty huge. Opponent down to their last Mon, ends up being an Altaria. Unfortunate that the Charmer Cottony is not going to be able to line up with it, which would explain why the Onyx came in. Gets the opponent's last shield on a body slam, which was an interesting shield, but I don't know if they knew if Chris had the Ducklet or not, because I've seen so many matches, I've lost track of which ones the Ducklet's been in or not. But regardless, the Ducklet's coming in for a huge Brave Bird, which will bang do the Altaria's remaining health and win, and the heavy hitting moves just keep on coming. Oh, the lead switched up in this next set, and if only we were leading with Wooper, we would have had an amazing matchup here. Ends up pivoting into the Wooper here, is going to let the first charge move come through, ends up being a neutral Muddy Water, which doesn't even get the debuff and barely does any damage. And then the opponent swaps into their Vigoroth, and I feel like this might be the situation. Actually, no, because Body Slam's less energy, and that Body Slam ended up doing about half of that Vigoroth's health. Clearly, throwing Body Slam here is still the play, even though it's the non-stab move, and Mud Bomb probably is better DPE-wise, but in this current circumstance, the Wooper is going to need to get off 2 charge moves regardless in order to take out the opposing swap of the Vigoroth. Ends up getting both shields. Will the Wooper get to the Body Slam in time? It does, but it's a CMP tie. Chris decides not to shield. Let's his Wooper go down. The Ducklet comes in for a wing attack farm down. There should just be another body slam that Ducklet can probably tank pretty well. Ends up taking about half the health. The opposing G-Fist comes in, but now the Ducklet has a shield advantage and an energy advantage, which could be huge. And the G-Fist threw some of its energy earlier. G-Fist is going to need to land a rock slide in order to take out the Ducklet, and Chris calls the bait, which is a crazy play. Unfortunately, gets debuffed, but is going to get off another super effective bubble beam here, and then pivot into his Cottony and then catch another charge move. Will this be the Muddy Water? Will this be the rock slide? It's the rock slide. Huge catch. Opponent's last mon is going to be a fortress. This is not looking like a great matchup for the Cottony, just based on the pure fact that the fortress resists all the potential damage coming at it, whether it's a fast move or a charge move. But this is still the 500 CP meta, so that means the fortress is not tanking and holding on all that strong. Fortress going for a charge move ends up being a double resisted Sand Tomb, which is super unfortunate. They get to another charge move, most likely another Sand Tomb. Will Ducklet hold on? It will. Going for the wing attack farm down, huge. Because the G-Fist threw their energy earlier, the Ducklet outpaces, gets off the bubble beam. This will take out the G-Fist's remaining health, and the opponent top lefted on the charge move. Impressive play by them there. Getting to the next matchup, we're seeing a great variety and versatility of this team comp. You can run it for success with Wooper lead. You can run it with success with Wooper as a save swap. It's just that versatile and doing that well within the battles that we're shoutcasting here. And again, Chris, really appreciate the submission. Ends up getting the opponent's first shield after Brave Bird needs to swap out. Goes into the Cottony. Opponent goes into a Cottony also. So we're playing this fantastic mirror. Chris seems to want to hopefully shield here and then charm all the way down. That's exactly what he's doing. He's going to end up winning this out. It's a little close. Just barely wins it out. It looked like he was a charm ahead, but sometimes this game isn't always the most consistent with how the mechanics work. Regardless, Chris leaves with a bunch of energy, and he's able to get off a charge move and get the opponent's last shield when they come in with their Wooper. They're going to throw another their own charge move here. It's going to be a body slam. They've gotten to another one. Does Chris want to throw, or are we relying fully on Wooper to win this game? Ends up, we need to rely on Wooper to win this game because the opponent makes a crazy play by essentially, catching Chris lacking, bars, coming in with the Chin Chow, with the Spark to take out the 1 HP, sniping the health. That's the word I'm looking for. And now this is all on Wooper. The first Mud Bomb I feel like we've seen all video does a huge chunk of damage to the opposing Chin Chow. Will Chris shield ends up being a resisted Thunderbolt, which Wooper survives. The opponent comes in with their own Wooper, and we've got a ton of energy. How many body slams is it going to take? It looks like it's going to take 2, and Chris is going to pull out this match. Wooper coming in clutch, not even needing the shields. We'll save that for the next match, surely. Getting to the next one, we got a Ducklet on a Scrafty lead. Really good lead there, and then they swap into their own Nidoran, a poison type. Not going to like Wooper's ground damage here. Lets the first charge move come through. Ends up being a body slam. Chris going for his own body slam here, most likely because the Nidoran will either shield or this could do enough damage to Mud Shot down. Doesn't look like it. This might have been the play to potentially throw the Mud Bomb again, but Wooper will tank the opposing Nidoran's body slams pretty well. Over farms a little bit too much there. Gets a bit greedy. Will Chris commit to a Mud Shot down now? All things considered, should be able to outpace. Is able to. Is at a shield disadvantage, but has the alignment he needs for his Ducklet onto the Scrafty or even his Cottony with Charm, doing some super effective damage. Ideally, Chris is able to pull a shield here so that this energy doesn't completely go to waste, because that Scrafty is as good as dead. Unfortunately, does not get the shield. The opponent then swaps into their own Golbat, and Chris has to stay with his Ducklet and keep his Cottony in the back for the Scrafty. The opponent does not know that Chris has a Cottony in the back, so they're not preserving their Golbat as much as they probably should. Will Chris be able to pull this out? Will the wing attacks add up enough? The second Bubble Beam is going through, gets the opponent's first shield. Can Chris commit to the wing attack down? He can. No matter what this charge move is, Ducklet will survive. It only ends up being a Poison Fang. I lied. If it was a Shadow Ball, Ducklet was not surviving regardless of the debuffs, but Ducklet clutch, didn't even need to show the Cottony there, and that is a collection of Little Jungle Cup battles featuring Chris from Kentucky's Little Jungle Cup team with Wooper, Ducklet, and Cottony, and showing you why Wooper is the best Mud Boy in all of Little Jungle Cup. On that note, please let me know your thoughts on the battle. Thank you all for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.